Hi, this is Chris Sullivan with Sullivan, Brown, Krolakowski, and Gordon. In the last few episodes, we talked to you about purchasing a house by way of a FSBO, a for sale by owner. We also talked to you about hiring a contractor to fix up the house, and we talked about leasing out the property when the house is all complete. Today's episode, we want to talk about something a little different in the lease realm. This is called a lease option. Basically, what a lease option is it's a lease where you have an option to buy the house. The way that they basically work is the lease option sets a future date for you to close on the transaction or purchase the house. What you'll typically do is you'll set the price for the purchase today when you sign the lease option. This way, you know what you're going to pay in advance, and you have a general idea of what your monthly payments are going to be and how much of the payment is going to go towards the principal for living there, and then how much is going to go towards the option, which will be considered your down payment in the future. These are pretty good deals for a buyer. It's a way for a buyer with poor credit to get into the market. It's not so bad for a seller too, especially in a slow market, the one like we have right now. Now, the risk to the buyer basically is that you put down this option money and then you increase your monthly payment to put additional monies in as a down payment, but you're not able to close. The risk you see for the buyer, it always comes back to the same thing, almost always, is that they can't qualify for the loan, which is the reason why they went into the lease option in the beginning. They couldn't have bought the house because their credit was poor, and now they're in the lease option, they've put money up and their credit is still poor. If you're going to enter into a lease option as a buyer, you've got to make sure that you sign up with a credit enhancement company as soon as possible, so that by the time the lease option term expires, your credit is good enough to purchase the home. The benefit to the buyer is they get to lock up the house. They find a house that they like and they don't want to let it get away, so they get into this lease option. It gives them typically a year or 18 months to get their credit fixed up and to be able to purchase the home. You're also making periodic payments towards your down payment, much easier than coming up with a lump sum as a down payment. One of the most important things I think that a buyer has to do when entering into the lease option is make sure that you have an assignment clause. This way, you can assign the contract to somebody else. If, for example, you're not able to increase your credit score, you've got this assignment clause in the lease option, which allows you to bring in a third party, assign the contract to them, they close on the house and own the house, and they can reimburse you the funds that you put down as your option and your increased monthly price. Now, there's some benefits to the seller as well, and this is what this show is really all about. This is talking about buying a for sale by owner. How do you get it fixed up? How do you get it leased out? The lease option is a great benefit to the seller because you basically can get a higher price. Even though it's a slow market, you can say to the potential buyer or lessee, listen, we know, for example, that the house is worth $100,000. We'll let you tie it up for $110,000. Because there's some adjustment there. You're giving up something. You're giving up the right to sell it right now because you're giving the buyer the ability to hold on to the house for a year. So as a seller, you get a little bit of a premium. In addition to that, the seller gets a premium on the payment. So if the payment, for example, was only $1,000 a month for a standard lease, for a lease option, the seller's going to charge $1,100, $1,200, and they're going to make that premium. That's what makes it so attractive to a seller. Particularly right now, remember, this is a great way to unload your house in a slow market. Sellers want to look for these type of things. As always, with any of these issues that are attendant to real estate matters, I advise you to seek an attorney for representation, especially when you're going to draft up a lease option. This is a critical document that's going to tie your land up for some period of time, a year, 18 months, 2 years. Whether it's my law firm or any other law firm that's competent in real estate matters, take the time, get some advice, and remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.